Ohio, man.
Hey, buddy,
You've done a great job.
I
getting this
appreciate
together.
that. Yeah, we had.
I am so impressed.
If we could just get a good producer, we'd be set.
I mean, to get all that.
I'm just kidding.
All that brickwork.
Kathy,
and
you're
stuff,
doing a great
man.
job.
It looks like it's been there forever.
Put us on that big number 3.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh,
she's coming.
there we go.
It looks good, doesn't it?
It does. It looks really good. I think all this wood paneling you put up back here behind us, all those slats, and
man, do you know how many pallets I had to rip apart to put all that up?
I'm telling you, and then the aged brick look is awesome.
Do you know how that's the German schmear?
German schmear.
I got that off of watching Chip and Joanna Gaines. You know how long it took me to lay all that brick?
I'm telling you, about what, 15 minutes?
It's a little bit longer than that.
Longer,
The schmear takes an extra time. You got to let it dry.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, make it look aged like that.
Yeah, it takes a little bit of time.
I'm going from that industrial vibe for our podcast. You know why I did that for the set? Because we're growing in Meade County.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yes, we are.
We're growing in Meade County. We got industry moving in.
We got over 30,000 people in the county now, and
growing. Expected to grow.
Expecting to keep on going. I mean, we're getting not just for Nucor. You got people coming up from we got people moving into the county that are going to be working at the battery plants. I was down in E-Town today.
Have you seen how big that place is?
That is huge, man.
Huge.
But have you been over in the industrial park in E-Town?
Yeah.
So
kids run track, so you got to run out that way to get out to the park.
I was over there making some deliveries and stuff today, this afternoon, and just before I came here, by the way, as a matter of fact. And there's some huge buildings out there. They're not as big as the battery plant, but there's some big buildings out there, and it's so E-Town is booming, and it's 30 minutes from here. Right. So if you moved out to Flaherty area or whatever, you're talking like 15, 20 minutes from there.
There's a reason why they put the bypass in.
Yeah. That's right.
And it's all roads lead straight there, especially when you get up to the Hardin County, superplex where they do all their business. You make that right turn and you're headed right down Industrial up Ring Road.
This is all, it's off of Ring Road and that back there. Just before you get to 62 is where most of it is.
Absolutely.
But it is, I went in, it's funny because the first time I went out there in that area, GPS took me out to Cecilia and came in this back way. You're going through old downtown Cecilia. It's old and it's a lot of older buildings and things. Similar to Brandenburg. And then it all of a sudden it turned me down this alley, crossed over all the railroad tracks, and then turned.
I've been turned down before.
I turned GPS. GPS took me down this alley, and I'm like, where is this place at? I mean, I know this is a big company I'm supposed to go to. And I got out there, and next thing I know, I'm going through a cornfield, and it gets a little wider.
Right.
And then I cross over the railroad tracks, and it's just super wide, and everything was out there. So today it took me in the front way. I went out through out there on 361 and such, and it was and Ring Road. Took Ring Road around there.
Sure.
Yeah. So, but man, it's getting big out there, and that's close to Meade County. So Meade County's growing there. I mean, you got people coming from. You got people that are. Sorry about that, guys. I wanted to get that out of my face a little bit.
Are you losing your thought?
No, it's just that we're growing so fast. We're growing real fast, but we've got things that are affecting us with that growth. I mean, we have to. It's going to take a little time for us to grow up with infrastructure and things like that. And 313 is going to have to be widened sooner rather than later. They're not going to be able to wait 10, 15 years before they make that 4 lanes out through there. It's got to be. You got to get it done. I wish Kentucky would go ahead and raise some of the speed limits on those newer roads like that too to 60 or 65.
No, they need to do like Texas, 80 miles an hour.
Well, not on side roads. 80,
no,
you can do 80. You can do 80 on interstates. No, they're not doing 80 on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Where?
287 going from Wichita Falls, Texas to Dallas, Texas. 4 lanes, just like them bypasses, and it is 80 miles an hour. Yes, sir, it is.
I mean,
now interstates are 80. Interstates are 85. So you go up I-35 or I-10.
I mean, I go to I-10. I mean, when I'm down in El Paso, I take I-10 quite a bit, obviously.
Yeah.
You don't go anywhere in El Paso unless you're on I-10 for the most part.
That's right.
But
and it's hotter than sin down there.
But you get outside, it's only like 70, 75 out there. So did they just raise it again or something?
Yeah, buddy, it's been that way for a long time.
Well, maybe just in El Paso area, they never increased it all the way up.
No, it's hot. Yeah. I'll tell you.
Because you've been down in El Paso, right?
I've been in El Paso. I was at Fort Bliss, Texas.
So like go out to Cattleman's and stuff like that.
Oh, we rode our Polaris RZR across the desert to Cattleman's and rode right up to the front door.
That's some pretty desert out there.
We had a blast.
Like, we got the.
It's the only place I've ever been where you can go from. It starts off with rattlesnake, tarantula, roadrunner, jackrabbit, antelope, orcs. And then you can head up toward Tiburon, New Mexico in the same day, and then you start hitting mule deer, elk, and black bear.
Oh wow!
All in the same day.
Yeah.
On a Polaris RZR. Loved it.
Because it's about 20 miles out there. So it's
about 20 miles
off
from
road. But it's 20 miles. Well, it's so straight and flat there. It's 20 miles whether you're on road or off road. But
I just say that there's no speed limits in the off road, so it's kind of fun.
That's true. That's true. But man, it's got. That's where they out there's where they shot. What's the name of that movie?
It was called. It was not Black Hawk Down, but it was Courage Under Fire. It had Meg Ryan and Denzel Washington.
Yes.
Would you like to know a little known story? I have a picture with Denzel Washington.
Do you?
And I actually held the 9mm pistol and the AR rifle that actually trained Meg Ryan for that movie, because she came out to the to Fort Irwin, California, and I got to meet both of them in person, photos taken and everything, and for that movie because they were debating on filming it at Fort Irwin, but they ended up doing it at a set location there. It was a little bit more conducive than having to deal with the military government stuff.
I think it was a good call because, I mean, they did most of the they did a lot of the was it Afghanistan? Was it Afghanistan?
Yeah, it was Iraq. It was Iraq.
So I mean, they did those shots of Iraq were done out there in the desert, right?
That's right.
They
still got a helicopter there too, so which is
they have there's a tour you can take over there to watch. I mean, and that movie's almost 30 years old now, right?
Something it is. I thought it was actually a great movie. It actually goes into the complexity of what goes into an investigation for giving an award.
Yeah,
and that it was investigating for a Congressional Medal of Honor.
And you got, and in that you got 2 for 1, really, because you got the investigation for her, but then you also had it went into what the tankers have to go into as far as when they're
in combat.
When you're in combat, and you don't think about another tank, an enemy tank gets in your line or something like that. That's and
they also talked a lot about the friendly fires that occurred that we had in Iraq. Most of the fatalities that we had in Iraq were the lack of communication and the friendly fire incidents that occurred.
Yeah, I mean that's why our communications are so important now. And this whole talk about Russia, putting nukes in space to try to take out our satellites. Should we? I mean, that's a big deal.
Well, Reagan spent half of his career as a president focused on Star Wars.
He did.
Well, currently I can tell you that technology isn't even able to keep up with the Russians. They just had a conversation about 2 years ago about the Russian technology and their supersonic speed, whatever killer drones that they have that fly into our missiles to take them out are much faster than ours. So that should scare you.
A little bit. I mean, I still think that our guidance systems are much better than theirs. They concentrate a lot on speed and just power. But I don't think I think our guidance systems are much more advanced than theirs. But if they take out our satellites, that hurts us.
Did you ever see the what was it? Independence Day, the new Independence Day?
Yeah.
You saw when they came in and they took out all of our satellites? Yeah, the second one. They took out all of our satellites, all of our defenses. They were wiped out in just one click.
Yeah.
Well, that's what theirs can do to our nuclear weapons once they're launched. That's how fast they can be.
Yeah. So I mean,
they can intercept a launch. So a counterstrike in a nuclear war, that right now it indicates that based off that weaponry, they could have a large advantage.
Yeah, but looking at the specs and such, they can catch it, but they can't necessarily hit it.
Well,
it's not
an avenue I would like to see our countries enter. But
absolutely not. Absolutely not. Anyway, that isn't even what we were going to talk about tonight. But
Russia leads to Donald, and Donald leads to two lawyers that are in a big mess. You want to take us there?
Yeah. So they wrapped. It looks like they've wrapped up. It looks like they've wrapped up the closing arguments today in the Fani Willis.
This is a scandal case,
yeah,
right?
This is, well, for those that may not be familiar, but I'm pretty sure everybody that's out there has been are familiar with this. But down in Georgia, they have Donald Trump on trial for election interference, and because they're claiming that him asking the governor to find more votes was in some way saying that he wanted the governor to go out and manufacture votes, and that's not really what was said as far as what we can see.
But let's twist it into what we think we can do.
Yeah, yeah. So they're using these words. They're using the vagueness of the wording to be able to try to say whatever they want, and that's just not how it's supposed to work. But
that's right.
You saw what happened to him up in New York. So he owes over $400 million to New York right now.
$435 million.
It's actually with everything. It's in all in everything. I think he's now over $5 million in total.
Wow.
Losses in New York between those two cases, and the interest and stuff that's associated with them. So they wrapped it up today. So what happened is they wrapped up the Fani Willis portion of this. But so what happened is Fani Willis is the DA who's bringing the charges against. She's the one that took that worked and got Trump indicted.
Right.
By the grand jury, which simply just means that the grand jury thinks that there's enough evidence to go to trial. Doesn't mean that anybody's guilty.
Right.
And so what happened was she brought up these charges. He was indicted, and now she goes, instead of her running it, she goes and hires a special prosecutor to prosecute. And well, come to find out, she hired her boyfriend. And so right now what's going on is everyone is now trying to find out, well, one, was she seeing him before she hired him? Because all the allegations against her, she hired her boyfriend. She has paid him over $650,000 has been paid to his quote unquote law firm, and that's even another. That by itself is another story, because the law firm, he doesn't have he's on his own.
Hey, Kathy, can you check and see if you've got the live button checked over on the OBS? Look on the screen on the bottom right where you click start record, start stream. Is start stream going?
It says stop streaming, stop recording.
Okay, you're good. It's just not showing up on Facebook.
Did we start the
OBS is on.
But did we start the restream?
Restream IO is on. You don't have to start it to do it.
Okay.
All right, put it on, Mark. I'll come over. Keep going.
Yeah. So anyway, so what's going on is, sorry about the technical difficulties. We're trying to get things going here, but so anyway, so what happened is, for you guys out there, is it okay?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. So what happened is now they have all these allegations. So now there's a level of corruption that is being looked at by
you better clean your house before you try to clean somebody else's house.
So it's like now it's like, well, is she benefiting from this hire, and is she benefiting from all this? And
somebody's getting friends with benefits.
Yeah. So now it's like if you watch any of this, you go to watch it on YouTube or what have you. This whole thing, I mean, it's like everybody's trying to avoid to say what everybody believes. And so his friend Terrence, or it used to be his friend, I guess, it's unclear whether they're friends now. They've had some falling out. But Terrence Bradley, one of the partners in the, that's another thing, is that they're not even real partners. They don't have a partnership. They just share expenses. They have like it's kind of like going to the dentist and there's two dentists in the office, but there's two different, they're just sharing the same office space, right?
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of how it is. They're not really together, but they're in the same building.
Yeah.
So when they started talking to him about, and this is Nathan, what's his name? Nathan, what is his last name, Kathy?
I don't know.
Say it in my ear, Kat. Nathan Wade. Yeah. So Nathan Wade. Nathan Wade is the boyfriend that was hired, and he's received. So when they were asking him about this money that he received, well, he's like, I didn't receive that money. I didn't get all that money. It went into that money went into the firm, and so he didn't get $600,000. It was split amongst the three of them. I'm like, so, but they're not a partnership. But the money he brought in, and so, anyway, so they had,
onion rings. They said onion rings.
Onion rings, and my mind went, what? We're getting fish Friday night after the show, so it just came in the door. So
we're all trying to do our part for the fast, over the last couple weeks. But
so anyway. I've been wanting fish ever.
So who's getting the money, Mark? So
the money, the money was split up, and he is taking the money, and he's actually going and doing taking her out on trips, these lavish trips and stuff, going to Napa, going down to the Caribbean and spending thousands and thousands of dollars.
Think of the vacation you would always want to have, and just imagine them just going on your vacation without you and spending your money.
And then it comes up all this, and she comes in and says, well, she paid the money back. And they were like, well, there's no bank transaction showing that you paid this money back.
I paid you with cash.
So she says, she claims that she paid him back in all cash. And it's like, well, who keeps that much money in cash around? And she said that her dad taught her that, you have to keep all this cash around. So then she paid him in cash. Well, then he must have just kept the cash because he didn't deposit it anywhere.
Because that's the thing that they do.
And so it's just it's a strange thing. And when you're on, it's uncomfortable watching them on television because this is all being broadcast and stuff all day long, and it's so uncomfortable watching them try not to have to say what happened. And it's like.
Listen,
they're not saying it. They're not admitting it. They're doing everything they can to keep their law licenses and things, right? Because if they get caught in perjury, they lose their license.
They need to recuse themselves from this case completely.
That's exactly right. And so the thing is she ran on going after Trump. I mean, that's how she got elected there.
That's right. And that her stuff don't stink.
Oh no! Did you see her get on the stand the other day and just? Yeah, I mean, she was mad.
Like,
Joe, she was angry.
She was strutting her stuff like, who do you think you are?
And was talking, talking to the.
It's funny though that you get challenged, right?
Yeah.
But Trump doesn't walk around poking his chest out. When things don't go his way, he deliberately says what he thinks, and that's it.
Yeah.
She gets upset and throws her stuff around like,
she was throwing stuff down on the counter.
Oh yeah.
Like how dare you question me?
Right.
And it's like
the audacity.
I took that as a defense mechanism.
That's the entitlement thing that drives me nuts.
Well, I think that was a defense mechanism. She's like, I'm going to go on the offense, so it's
still,
I don't have to answer the questions that they want me to answer.
It's so Democratic playbook.
Everything that's going into this thing, it looks like we're watching. It looks to me like we're watching, these three people just lie. And I don't know that they're lying. I obviously have no proof that they're lying, but I'm trying to watch this objectively because And it's hard sometimes. I get it because we're Republicans and we know what's going on.
You know what? That's not an excuse. Party is not an excuse to
not to look at something objectively.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, we look at our own party that way, but Democrat. Nope. You remember Eddie Murphy when he did the comedy scene and he said, his wife catches, it was Eddie Murphy Raw back in the day.
Yeah.
And his wife, part of his comedy bit was his wife caught him messing around with another girl. Nope. Wasn't me.
Wasn't me.
I saw you. Nope. Wasn't me. But she was right there in the bed and she got out naked. Wasn't me. Nope. Wasn't me.
Gosh.
And he goes through that whole bit. Wasn't me. The truth is right there in front of you.
Yeah, just say the lie.
A normal person.
Say the lie until that's all anybody remembers is the lie.
Something. I don't know.
I mean, that's how. And I feel like that's what we're going through with this thing. It's like,
but it's not just this case. It's a lot of them.
Oh, it's all of them. I mean, nobody believes that woman up there in New York, the one he lost. Nobody believes her except for the people that the people in New York.
Yeah.
Nobody outside of that believed her that she was. Her idea of if somebody called her idea was like if somebody called her pretty, that's the equivalent of rape. I mean, she even went on like CNN or something like after that. And there's a whole string of stuff after that. And he had to pay her $80 million.
So if we see a transvestite,
that was a defamation.
And we say that we think you're pretty, and they file a defamation. Can they? Yeah. Do that too?
I mean, she filed a defamation suit against him because he said that. I mean, I can't remember what he said, but it was like she was lying or something about it, and that he never knew her. Doesn't remember meeting her, even though they had pictures of her and him in the same room.
Okay, so
at some fundraiser or something like that one time back in 1994 or something like that.
So take everything off the table, right? The lawsuit, all of the problematic. Yes or no doesn't matter. What do you think happens next? Whether they're guilty or not guilty, or they find it. What do you think is going to happen next in the Trump case as a result of all of this?
I think that. I think that they're if it continues, I think they're going to probably. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know
because it's a criminal case.
I don't think that it's a criminal case, but I don't think that they have the. I haven't seen enough evidence of anything yet that says that he's guilty of what they think he's guilty of.
I think even if it does go to trial with a jury, but does it get a jury trial or does it get a judge?
I think this is a jury.
Well, I would hope it is a jury because you would have to have a good mix of the jurors and know that they're Republican or Democrat. If I was cross-examining,
well, you're not going to. Yeah, I mean, it's. I mean,
you can look them up.
No, the odds are. That's if you have the names.
And a
lot of times you don't even have the names of them until after.
I got it, but
not
still
afterwards. So usually you just have juror number one.
You got a computer there when you're doing it,
but you have to know you're not really supposed to have a list of the jurors' names and information.
I get it, but
that's why it's juror number one, juror number two.
I hear you. Anyway, so they get in there, but I'm just saying, if you get it in front of a jury trial, right? A reasonable person, I think that it doesn't matter if you have 12 reasonable jurors sitting down in there, right? Without, like you said, with due diligence.
Just be objective.
I got to be objective. I guarantee you it would be a hung jury. It would have to be based on the evidence and testimonies on both sides.
Yeah, this is, and it's criminal, so it's not a preponderance of evidence. But you have to be beyond a shadow of a doubt.
I do believe, though, that depending on how Trump's defense acts in the case, though, it could probably turn off jurors.
I mean, Al Gore asked the same question in Florida back in 2000.
Yeah, he did.
He wanted to know where he could get more votes. That's why he kept asking for votes and recounts down in Miami-Dade
against Bush.
He did not want to have them up in the Panhandle where the Republicans were.
That's right.
So the Republicans countered by going up and doing recounts up in the Panhandle where they started gaining more votes. And so that's when everybody finally said, "All right, stop." Right, you've counted them 3 times. There's no more counting.
Yeah, that's right.
Because they wanted to change the rules of what was what to count.
The hanging Chad.
That's right, the hanging Chad.
When we can sing that in the same tone, it's well known.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a poetry right there.
So I mean, these cases are, they're the whole point is just to try to distract away from the election.
That's right.
They don't really care if he gets convicted or not, and none of them believe that it would hold up as it gets appealed up to the Supreme Court.
So let me ask you this good question: why is Nikki Haley hanging on?
I don't know why Nikki Haley. I think my belief is that Nikki Haley's hanging on because she thinks that one of these things might stick, and then she's going to be able to walk right in.
Okay.
But I don't think that she would be the one.
No,
I don't think that she would end up being the one. I think that she wouldn't, because then it would go to the convention, right? It would go to the convention, and then she would have to garner enough votes at the convention to win, to get the nomination. And
she hasn't won any votes yet.
She hasn't won anything yet.
Because
she's out there a little bit. I like Nikki Haley. If it wasn't for the fact that the way she's going about this election and some of the stuff she's saying, and then she's trying to get elected. So as a Republican, as a Republican Party member that's active, I understand why you do that, why you go after these things, and why you say some of the things you say. And so deep down, I think that she would make a great president.
I do think it's interesting, the strategy. They're not going after Biden. They're going after the vice president in her campaign. And the reason why is because if Biden is elected, then and he does fade away for whatever medical reasons, Kamala Harris is the step in as the next president. Is that who we want? And I noticed that twist in her campaign, even though she's still hanging on. But
so she's going after. So I think that's why she's hanging on. I think she's hanging on because there's that off chance that Trump. But I think Trump wins from jail. If they can put him in jail, I think.
And then he pardons himself.
Well,
Secret Service comes in and clears up.
Well, can the president pardon himself for a state matter? Right? A governor can't for a federal, but so I don't think. So that would be
would have to be something. Senators and representatives,
and then they would turn around and if it would be there would be an uproar, a voter uproar if Trump goes to jail.
Oh, I guarantee it.
This is like kicking off revolution type stuff.
No, I 100% agree.
And it's like it would be. I'm not advocating for that by any means.
No,
I'm just saying that my thought
you
is,
have to ask
this
yourself.
is the type of thing that
there's a movie going to come out.
Out of control.
There's a movie going to come out this summer. It's called Civil War, and it's a portrayal of what that would look like in our country in modern times. And there's a lot of skeptics. There's a lot of writers. There's a lot of concern. There's a lot of reason to be concerned, for that matter, and not just because of our own political uprisings internally and our beliefs and all that other stuff, but it's also because of a lot of the stuff that has to do with the infiltration of illegal immigration into our country right now.
Once again, the Democratic Party's positions on things, excuse me, has segregated America. In opinion, and we haven't been this segregated in opinion since the Civil War. I mean, Vietnam got close. But still back in, back here in, rural America, it was still, we didn't see as much of that in the rural America as you do did in the cities.
I believe I sent you something the other day. This infuriated me. Let me see if I can find it. But it was the discussion from the one. Oh, I know who I sent that to. Let me pull this up for you.
Did you send it to me? I don't remember.
No, I sent it to Pastor Ryan. So give me a second. It was a reporter that on MSM, and she basically went on to say, I gotta see if I can play this. Hold on. Let me see if I get it. Hold on a second.
They have a lot of power in Trump's circle, and the one thing that unites all of them, because there's many different groups orbiting Trump, but the thing that unites them as Christian nationalists, not Christians, by the way, because Christian nationalists is very different, is that they believe that
I saw that.
As Americans, as all human beings, don't come from any earthly authority. They don't come from Congress. They don't come from the Supreme Court. They come from God. The problem with that is that they are determining man men, are determining what God is telling them. And in the past, that so-called natural law is, it's a pillar of Catholicism. Catholicism, for instance, has been used for good in social justice campaigns. Right. Martin Luther King evoked it in talking about civil rights. But now you have an extremist element of conservative Christians who say that this applies specifically to issues including abortion, gay marriage, and it's going much further than that.
So, okay, so this reporter, her name is Heidi Przybyla, and I probably screwed this up, but she did this live, and it's sad because she's standing on a pedestal in media, woke media, and basically if you go to church and you support Trump, you're now categorized. Not only are you, if you're a white male, first of all, you're a racist. I don't care what anybody says now. In America, it has been told by the wokeism, it's being taught to our children, we are a white racist. Maybe not so much in Meade County, but I educate you that if you leave Meade County to go visit a large city and you are a white male and you integrate with the community there, you will have this barrier that you have to overcome instamatically. And oh, by the way, the minute you open your mouth, because you're from rural America, according to this reporter, Heidi Przybyla, I could probably tell you what ethnicity that comes from, but I'll let you do your own research. But the bottom line is that you have this type of communication going out, which is basically separating, again, rural America from the inner cities. And then they are telling us that if we believe in God, that whatever we believe in God is not right. And that we are only doing that because we're ignorant, and that we should.
She's saying that because pastors are. Like there's somebody on high that's rolling down what to think about what God says.
She is literally splitting
Here's
us.
the problem she has.
Yes.
The problem she has is this is not Catholicism back in the. This is not Catholicism in the 14th and 15th century. This is where you had where you had one being that was one human that was rolling down this message to all Christians through the Catholic Church
in order to unify control.
Christians today read the Bible.
Yes.
We all read the Bible, right? Mm-hmm. And you read what the text says, right?
The oldest book on record too, by the way.
It's not a pastor. It's not a pope. It's not the pope. It's not a cardinal. It's individual people read this, and we read it for ourselves. Yeah. She is got this doctrine. They need to overcome Christianity
100%
in order to.
Let's put them over in this group and then label them.
We go back to
divisiveness and splitting us up.
What was the guy's name that I remember? I did the show on fascism. Mm-hmm. This is another playbook in fascism. So this fascist reporter, I'm gonna stop calling them woke. They're fascist because what they're doing is they're trying. And if you remember in that when I did that segment. Fascism and socialism are both pillars of Marxism, right? Mm-hmm. One uses social segregation as their key to start the revolution, and fascists don't use socialism. They use what's it called? What do they call that? Oh gosh. They segregate people into different groups, right? Mm-hmm. They create groups that they then can segregate as many of these out, and then they start pulling them in to create the revolution, to start the revolution. Their whole point, all of this, is to start the revolution, to make sure that they can gain control. I mean, the end result is the Democratic Party does not want any other party to ever have control again. They said that under Obama. They thought they had it when Obama won.
Sure.
Right? When Trump beat Hillary Clinton in 2016, it showed that they had no idea how much work they had left to do to try to convince America. That's why all of a sudden they had to amp it up and ramp it up against Trump, because they didn't realize that this element of people. So they started saying, "Oh, well, you're racist. You're all racist." And nobody can point to anything that Donald Trump ever did that was racist.
I am a racist. I am for the human race.
Well, I mean, it's like. On a serious note, that's what they're doing. They're trying to tear down and put people in these. That's why LGBTQ whatever became. They had to have all of them in a collective, right? And there's a lot of gay people who don't want to be put into that.
I got it.
Right. I hear people talk about it all the time on different things. They're gay, but they're like, hey, we're not into that.
We have gay Republicans.
Oh yeah,
there's gay.
The Republican Party doesn't shun anybody away. It's about free market society. Right. It's about allowing people to live their lives and do the things they want to do. Yes, you're going to make things illegal. You're going to make murder illegal.
Yeah.
Yes. A grand majority of Republicans
well, evidently
want to see abortion.
You can beat the crap out of a police officer now. So,
but you know what else? We also believe that if you want that the abortion issue belonged in the states, not at the federal level, because anytime you elevate something to the federal level, you're one group of people is trying to tell everybody how to live. And it's like, I'm not telling you, I don't want to do things through law to say, I don't want to try to affect law in California without going to California and being part of that, and I'm not going to California anytime soon or ever. I mean, I used to like to visit there, but now it worries me to go there. And when I go to the more of the northern parts where it's more Republican up there. But it's not if I'm going to California, it's because business takes me there. But it's not I'm definitely not looking to live there. I don't think Kathy would let me. So to move the family there, she said, "No, the line is drawn." Actually, she told me a long time ago that the line was drawn if we tried to leave Brandenburg again. So
we're not leaving Brandenburg.
Yeah. So
I have unpacked the last box. Speaking of unpacking the last box, we got a lot to unpack in the Republican Party coming up.
So I got two things. Republican Party, Mitch McConnell.
I saw it. I posted it.
He stepped down this week. He's stepping down. He's not stepping down.
He's got to finish the term. Yeah,
but
he's retiring.
He's retiring from. Right now, it's just stepping down as the leader, the Senate leader for the Republican Party. So he will. And
I'm announcing tonight officially that I will be running for the U.S. Senator seat. So I'll be getting my application in Texas next week. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just teasing.
So Mitch McConnell.
I know you're shocked by that news.
Yeah. It just throws me off whenever you say it.
I know it. I'm just kidding.
Mitch McConnell is going to step down as leader, and he's going to finish out his term as senator. I don't think he's going to run again. He actually had said to a group of Republican leaders after when he ran this last time that this was his last election. So I think that's still the case. And he probably said more like the long language that this is probably my last one, but you see where he's at. I mean,
I posted it. It came from his office.
He's in pretty good health again now. I mean, I know he had a couple of episodes a while back, but he seems to be back into his normal self. So so I have no doubt that he'll finish out the rest of this term. His regular term, and then and they've already started. Cornyn, I think, is the one that has already stepped up. He's the minority whip right now.
Okay.
So I'm sure that he will become the. He'll probably have a leg up becoming the next
minority
leader or
majority
leader. Hopefully, it'll be the majority leader because he.
We have some work to do if that's going to happen.
Well, I mean, the all indications right now are the map looks favorable for us. Now nobody's going back and saying, "Oh, it's going to happen," because we know what happened last time.
It can happen.
2 years ago, we expected to have it, and it didn't happen. Now we're back to, okay, well, we thought we had it, it didn't happen. Abortion hurt. It's not even the abortion as just a general topic. It's the messaging that we can't fight against. What they keep saying. The things they keep saying are not accurate to what we are really doing or what we believe. And so I think Trump is actually he has started to he's always been kind of like on that Trump has always been kind of like on the edge of the abortion. He doesn't like abortion, doesn't want people to have abortions, but he's always said, hey, we could have there should be some exceptions and things like that. Now we can get into that argument and such. I don't think there's any reason to ever abort a baby ever. I think that if the mother's life is in peril,
that's between her and a doctor.
Well, I think that, but you don't have to abort the baby, right? You can live birth the baby, right? It's no more harmful to the mother than the abortion would be. And so, and then the baby at least has a chance to fight it out.
Yeah, I don't disagree with any of that statement. I just, that's something between the doctor and the mother to figure out. I agree with you, but at some point you have to back off and let the people make decisions for themselves between them and the doctors.
The thing is that I think that we need to continue to educate people. We need to continue to talk about, we need to make sure we're always providing services for children and mothers. And I think that's the right way to attack it. Trying to put doctors and people in jail is going to be a tough thing to convince people of. And, now here in Kentucky, abortion is illegal. That's one reason I like to live in Kentucky.
For now, until they change something. Yeah.
If they want to, if somebody wants to make abortion, wants to, in my opinion is, if you want to live in a state who has where abortion is legal, then, and there's not enough people in Kentucky to convince them to make it that way, then you need to move to another state.
I got you.
I get it. You want to stay here. I want to stay here. But right now, the majority of us believe that abortion is wrong and we shouldn't do that. I hope it always stays that way. I hope it's never going to be legalized in Kentucky again.
Sure.
And that's what we work for. But it's one of the things that we work for in the party.
So you got the delegate election coming up.
So March 16th is going to be our call to it's called the mass meeting. So at the county level, the mass meetings are held. They're held during the presidential election years. And what we do is in Meade County, we get 6 delegates and 6 alternates. Okay. And so we will choose to have on March 16th, we will meet at the fairgrounds in the Home and Garden Center. Okay. And we will choose our 6, or we will approve our 6 delegates. So the way the process works is the county committee, we will have a slate of delegates, which we've already got our first kind of round. We got some adjustments that are going to be made there as people have said they want to get in, they didn't want to in. And so we'll get that list ironed out by the 16th, so in 2 weeks.
And I suppose for education purposes, the Democrats do the same thing for their delegates.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know if it's the same exact or not, because they have super delegates and things on their side where they can override, the super delegates can override the state delegates and things and stuff. So we don't do that in the Republican Party.
That's good.
We start at the precinct level or the county level, and we select our delegates to represent Meade County.
That's right.
It can be anybody. It can be anybody in the county that's a registered Republican. Now that brings up the point. You have to be a registered Republican as of December 31st to participate in of 2023 to participate. Not to vote. Oh, okay. To even take part, we have a list of everybody that was registered to vote as a Republican as of this on or before December 31st. I have that entire list. So when you go in, you'll check in around 9 a.m. Between 9 and we'll start doing check in around 9 a.m.
Yeah.
It'll finish up by a little bit after 10. Okay. 10:15ish, and then we will have a subcommittee that will review it. It'll usually be the secretary and somebody else. We'll go through and verify all the names, make sure we have the right count, so we know what we have what the totals are. Sure. And then we will present our slate of delegates, and if those delegates are approved by the majority, by 50% plus one, then those delegates will be they'll be approved, and they'll be our delegates, our official delegates. That list will go up to Frankfort, and then those delegates will represent us at both the district down in Bowling Green and over in the state, which is going to be in Somerset, Kentucky this year. And those both happen like right after. So you're looking at, I think the district, it happens like right at the beginning of April. And if you're a delegate, you'll know we'll have all this information for you there, but it happens like right at the beginning of April, just like 2 or 3 weeks later. And then right after that, just a few weeks after that, it'll be, we'll have it in Somerset. And so that's what we're looking at. We do have about 3 more spots that need to be filled before that day. So we'll figure out those nominations. If we can't fill them, we'll do the slate, and then we'll see if there's anybody at the meeting that wants to fill them. So
very cool.
We'll figure that out by then. So it's a pretty straightforward contest. I mean, information. We're there. We're going to be there for a couple of hours, maybe checking in and hanging out. We'll talk a little bit about what's going on in the party.
We're going to have any food?
I'm not planning on any food, but
no potluck.
No, this is just a meeting. Get in and get out.
Get in and get out. Okay.
Yeah. So this is we have the fairgrounds until about 1 o'clock.
Okay.
So we'll start about 10:30. It'll probably be over really by 11:30.
Sweet.
So, and then we'll get done and we'll be ready to move on to the conventions.
All right, Kathy, play some exit music and let us get our goodbyes in tonight.
All right. So yeah, because I'm smelling fish.
It's a little fishy.
It actually smells good. So
hit the music button.
All right. So thanks everybody for tuning in with us tonight. I know it was a little bit off the cuff a little bit tonight, but hey, we want to make sure that we're reaching out to you every week, whether we have guests or if it's just us, and we just want to kind of like, hey, just sit around and talk to some folks. So
absolutely.
And so Steve, as always, I appreciate you for everything you do and all the things you're doing for the party, for us, for me personally, for my family.
Well, heck,
I really appreciate you, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you too, Mark, and what you're doing. I'm just glad to be a squirrel getting a nut out there. You know what I mean? So, stay tuned. We got more stuff coming, not just from the Meade Truth, but also from the Meade County Messenger, which is changing to the Messenger. And we're getting our website done in the background, and a lot of cool stuff going to happen in the future. But, folks, we want to say good night. You guys take care out there. Be good. Be great.
Night.